This is a book about what great organizations do to thrive, which is to behave like an octopus. More on that soon. But first we need to talk about what most organizations actually do, which is behave like the Tin Man. This insight, not the metaphor, came to both of us separately as we worked with hundreds of companies and witnessed them making the same mistakes repeatedly. Together we developed the metaphor as we began sharing field stories with each other, and we recognized the same frustrations with the behaviors we were witnessing. We began to see these organizations rather like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. He was a rigid and clumsy character, slow to move and slow to react, lacking heart and struggling with empathy. He could take instructions, but showed little initiative. His tool of choice was a blunt axe. When Dorothy found him, he'd completely rusted up and needed her to fetch him some oil. Blunt tools, rusted joints, missing a heart, yearning for oil. Tin Man wanted to feel and move freely, but simply couldn't, just like the organizations we encountered, stuck in rigid structures, lacking a unified purpose, and constantly searching for external fixes to help them operate more fluidly. To be sure, no organization or leader sets out to be a Tin Man. In fact, we believe that this model is so prevalent today because, for a long time, it worked so well. The Tin Man organizational models that dominate most businesses today are, in essence, still factories. For decades, this model, built on standardization, specialization, control, measuring individuals' performance, compliance, mass production, and predictable outputs, achieved immeasurably great results. But it's a rusting construct, now more than a century old. We work with some businesses using the factory model that are beautifully engineered, humming with efficiency, but they're churning out average output. Tin Man orgs can't get beyond average because they're not structured to allow it. They're built on a foundation of permission to innovate, permission to speak up, permission to even care. They're designed to minimize risk, eliminate variation, and create efficient, predictable outcomes. This works if you're making bushings or building boats. But the world has changed since these models were invented and perfected decades ago. You're probably not making bushings or building a boat, and even if you are, competitive pressures aren't as forgiving as they once were. The Tin Man's design, optimized for an era of mass production and linear control, becomes his undoing in a complex world where success is adapting and discovering. Today, success depends on building genuine, trust-based relationships with customers, employees, and broader sets of stakeholders. Work is less transactional. Customers have more choice, and so do your employees. They don't want to be told, they want to be heard. They don't want to be managed, they want to be inspired. Creativity cannot be commanded. You can't mandate passion. You can't org chart your way to exceptional. Traditional organizations are beautifully engineered for a world that no longer exists. They're not bad, they're just inadequate.